Welcome to All Abilities Network Podcast. Now, here is your host, bilingual certified life coach, advocate, and the founder of All Abilities Network, Alvaro.
Hi, and welcome to All Abilities Network Podcast. My name is Alvaro, and I'm very happy to be with you. Before I introduce our guest, I want to say thank you for people listening in the United States, Europe, Africa. We have listeners in Latin America, in Australia. And if you want to be on my show, you can email me at allabilitiesnet@gmail.com. Okay, it has been a long time since I did my last interview talking about accessible GPS applications. So I'm very excited about this one. We're going to talk to Liam Geschwindt. He's the CEO of TouchPulse. TouchPulse is an application that is coming up very soon, and it's going to help us in terms of GPS. It has artificial intelligence, but I really don't know much about it because it has not been released yet. So he's going to tell us all about it. So Liam, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Alvaro, for the great, firstly for the great introduction, and thank you for having me on the podcast today. I'm very excited to talk about what we're building. We're based out of the Netherlands, and we really are focusing on trying to solve problems that still exist, really, for people who have low vision or are totally blind, who want to navigate outside by themselves and just find this not possible. And that's the problem that we are here today to solve.
Very good point, Liam. And the first question that comes to mind is how this came to mind, doing this TouchPulse. Why the idea?
Yeah, so it's a good question. And I think sometimes when you pursue projects and also, when you build startups you start somewhere and you end up somewhere you didn't necessarily expect.
Right.
And I started off as a student in a city called Eindhoven, which is a very technologically minded city. And I was studying at the university there, and we had this project where we were trying to see how could we use haptic feedback through basically like a sleeve with little vibrations on your skin. How could we get more information to people who were missing information from certain senses? So we thought, okay, well, we've developed this sleeve, but what can we do with it, right? Can we bring it to market? Can we solve a problem? But the basic principles of anything that you want to bring to market is you have to find a problem first, and you can't really start with a solution. So we totally scrapped the idea and we said, okay, what problems do there exist for people with a visual impairment today? So we interviewed 50 to 100 people within the Netherlands, and we discovered that still to this day, there are still a lot of problems specifically around navigating outside by yourself when it comes to public transportation, following GPS directions, and specifically also planning the route. So we really just followed qualitative data, and it brought us to this problem that was unsolved, and we thought, hey, we can solve it, so let's do it.
Now, Liam, I have done so many interviews about GPS. I've done interviews with Sendero Group, Michael May. I did an interview with the people from Blind Square, one with the guys from Microsoft Soundscape, the new guy from China that is in California. I have done interviews with people from Canada, people in Europe developing applications to navigate airports. I mean, I've done so many. It's one of the topics I've done more interviews about, probably in my 13 years of doing podcasts for blind people.
Yeah.
So always people tell me, all right, so Blind Square is pretty good. When I am walking, it says McDonald's to the right or blah, blah, blah. Of course, it's not perfectly accurate, but, it does a fine job. when you go using a taxi, it tells you the intersection. I've done that in Bogota, it works. I've done that in New York, it works. So some of the things are done, are you can say we are well in that area, but still people say, how can we improve this navigation, and maybe artificial intelligence will help. I remember, Liam, talking to an engineer from Europe, I believe it was, and he told me, I do not believe GPS will ever be accurate to a centimeter. I think it's impossible, he said, but I believe artificial intelligence will help you through landmarks, through points of interest, get to your destination better. I want the opinion of Liam in exactly how is going to work your application.
Yeah, so it's a really nice question, and I think the framing is also great. There is an obstacle, of course, that as developers and as engineers, we cannot overcome, right? And that is that the GPS system is the GPS system as it is around the world.
Right.
And we cannot change the satellites. I mean, Elon Musk maybe can in the future, but that's out of the scope of our our ability at this day. And especially within the urban environment, within built-up areas, it's extremely difficult to get a solid, accurate reading on someone's exact position. Right. So the GPS issue, that was something we thought, okay, how can we approach this from a different angle? And that's why we're looking to use VPS, which is visual positioning systems. You will maybe, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there are quite a few companies working on indoor navigation, and they use this kind of system in a similar way. So what we plan to do is basically, through the use of AI, collect a lot of satellite data, also a lot of three-dimensional spatial data that has been mapped already, which, funnily enough, I don't know if you know the game Pokemon Go.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So what Pokemon Go allowed for was a collection of a vast amount of spatial data that we can now use through a VPS system to map a large portion of the globe, because everyone went around with their phones scanning and actually providing what is now super useful for us as developers to basically map the outside world. So that is the solution to the GPS problem, and that's how we can provide centimeter by centimeter accuracy.
Okay, Liam, so when is going to be released the application to the public?
So we're currently doing testing in person, just to see. Actually today, even on a Saturday, we had people, we were in the station together, really seeing how people use the app. Are there other things in the UX side, the UI that we need to work on? So basically now we have a closed beta where we're working with individual testers to try it out. And then at the end of January, we're launching an open beta where we basically put the link on the website, and everyone around the world can download it and provide us their feedback. And then in the summer, we're going to go with our first commercial release.
Okay, so Liam, let's put examples if we can. Like, yes. Let's say I love New York. I haven't been there in a few years, but maybe in 1 year or two, I'm gonna go. Yes or yes. So, okay, so I go there and I am in, let's say, 20th Street, and I want to go to Times Square, and I want to go on foot. I want to go walking. How will this application help, and what's the biggest difference between this one and the other ones?
Yeah. So I think what is really important to clarify for all the listeners here today is that what we are creating is not simply just a navigation tool like Google Maps or an input kind of like Lazzario or Blind Square, where they kind of provide quite specific location information on the user's request. What we are building is a personal assistant. So it's much more complex. It's much more encompassing. So in your situation, for example, you would open the app, and the app is called Navis, and that's the personality that we've given to the AI. It's your navigation assistant for the visually impaired. So what you would do is you would open your phone and simply with a button, you can either use the talkback, so screen reader, or you can just press the button with your thumb and you say, hey, Navis, good morning. I would like to go to Times Square. It already knows, Navis will already know your location, and it will be able to offer you the step-by-step information. So we don't work with meters. We don't think that meters are something that is easy to interpret, but we work with steps. So I don't know if you have an iPhone, but on your iPhone you can see how many steps you did in a day. You can see how long your step is. So we use basically the same principles to offer really information that is it's almost live feedback based on your movement, because we're able to know, did they take a step? Then they must have walked. The average is around 70 centimeters for a step. Depends if you're tall like people in the Netherlands, or of course, depends on how tall you are. But so Navis will provide you the step-by-step information while also having this really, really extensive overview of your direct spatial environment. And all of it is kept with privacy in mind as well, to protect from the users.
What kind of questions can you ask your personal assistant?
So that's actually probably one of the biggest issues, I think, with developing AI, is that sometimes it's too smart. So when we first started developing the application, if you had asked Navis to give the history of Colombia, or to, I don't know, explain magical realism, it would also be able to explain this. So we really had to narrow it down a little bit and focus it more on the data set. But I'm sure you're aware, we're talking with ChatGPT, the extent to the level that you can get in terms of responses. If you imagine that you are talking with Navis, has all your information about transportation, GPS directions, all the spatial data, you can ask any questions about it and it will provide it for you, basically.
Will be able to tell me what is around me?
So we're looking to collaborate with a company that will be able to use vision AI as well, so be able to determine obstacles. But for the current version, we can only provide information about permanent infrastructure. So if there's a bicycle in front of you, unfortunately, we cannot do that currently. But for the future, for a really wholesome, all-encompassing solution, that will be necessary. But we found that a lot of people, they don't want to hold their phone in their hand while they're holding a stick or a dog. They want it to be hands-free. So that's why with Navis, you can just put it in your pocket and it gives you all the information. But yes, it's all permanent infrastructure. So the built-up environment, but not bicycles, not people, not this kind of thing, but not yet.
Right.
That's our future vision.
Right, but it's going to tell me if there is a McDonald's near me, things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. If that's what you want to go to, you can also you can choose your preferences, and that's also part of the AI's personalization. Is if you go to McDonald's regularly, also it can also take you there, but maybe it should take you somewhere else. But that's your preference.
And Liam, in terms of accuracy, right? In terms of saying, okay, I'm interested in getting to McDonald's, but not to the window. I want to go to the front door, right? How accurate do you think your system will be?
Well, far more accurate than GPS. So whether the accuracy within the Netherlands differs from what you would find in New York is for us to see, because we haven't scaled it outside of this country. But so far in the Netherlands, we've seen an accuracy of around 30 centimeters, which is huge compared to, the opposite, obviously, but is huge in comparison with the inaccuracy of GPS. And our goal is to allow people to find their door number, because that was one of the biggest problems we identified. Is if you're going to somebody's house and you use GPS, you can end up on between door 50 or door 13, and it makes a huge difference whose house you get to, right? So that's really what we're trying to solve with this app as well.
Now, when you talk about the door number, you would need what you say, vision intelligence? Did you say vision or
visual positioning system?
Right.
Yes.
But in order to get that, you need your phone's camera, or how should you get that information if you have in your pocket your phone?
Yeah. So what we're doing is that when you start your route, you just scan a little bit your area.
Okay.
So if you imagine the A to B is A, you start your route, you just scan, and then Navis begins, and then you get to B, and then you're in the vicinity of where you think you're supposed to be. You can scan again, and then Navis will say, okay, well, I see where you've scanned, but I know the spatial data. You need to move a few steps this way, and you can scan again just to double check. And also, if you have any issues on your route, or you need to feel a little bit, I'm in an unsafe position, maybe I'm lost, you can scan again and then get an update as well.
Wow. And Liam, I know probably our listeners are thinking, okay, this technology is a pioneer, right, on GPS for blind people. So accurate, I haven't heard that accuracy outdoors anywhere. I mean, it's the first time I hear this. You are like a pioneer company, or I'm just exaggerating?
I could say we are a pioneer company, but I would also say that we're just a company with a vision. And I think that we exist in a world now where there are almost unlimited opportunities to find solutions to problems. The AI age just has blown the door open on really what is possible. And we're at the forefront of technological development in the space that we are. You know, we're in an extremely innovative country, in a very innovative city, and in a great university, and that really puts us at the forefront of these kind of developments. And we're just leveraging them to make a positive impact, really. And that's what motivates us. So if we're a pioneer, I'm not sure, but do I think that this is an incredible revolutionary time that these things are made possible, and we are just here positioned well, then I guess that makes us pioneers.
Liam, now everybody's talking about smart glasses. Are you considering your technology in them?
So I actually met the CEO of Envision.
The one I interviewed a few weeks ago. Yeah.
So they are building these glasses where you can get like a scan of your immediate environment. And we think that these glasses are extremely valuable, especially if you're looking for documents, or you're in your house and you're trying to find objects, or even if you're at the station, you want to know what a bus number is. Yeah. This is perfect. But at this day and age, the possibility to have glasses that are live processing the environment and giving you feedback as you're walking is currently not possible with the processing power that would be required.
Right.
Additionally, I've spoken to a lot of people who, yes, they have a visual impairment and they maybe they have a stick or a dog, but they don't want anything else that makes them stand out more, if that makes sense. Is that there are a few solutions where there are these massive boxes that you have to wear on your head, or these huge braces, and we really try to create as much impact with as little hardware as possible. Also because a lot of these hardwares are extremely expensive. And I mean, there's a lot of issues with hardware in general. So the long-term vision, of course, I think glasses would be great, and then you can really have live information on obstacles in front of you. But for now, that's not our short-term plan.
Right. Yeah, step by step, my friend. Step by step.
Yeah, step by, exactly. We don't do meters, just step by step.
Now, you think that countries like Mexico or Argentina or Colombia or Sri Lanka or India or Kenya will have some of these options, or is this only for certain countries with certain geography? I don't know.
So it's a great question. And also for me, growing up in South Africa, I was kind of exposed to sort of a more developing country, and the context within those developing countries is of course different, especially on the kind of data that is available. My girlfriend, she traveled to Sri Lanka in the summer, and even to find a bus through Google Maps is quite difficult. You know, you just have to find it on the local board at the bus stop, and no one knows if it's going to arrive on time. So there are challenges, of course, with expanding globally, especially in emerging economies and developing countries. But that's mostly around the data availability. But Navis will be there no matter what. And as those developing countries develop further and they get more data, Navis will grow with that. But if you're in Kenya now and you would to download Navis and you say, okay, well, give me directions to wherever I want to go in the center of Nairobi, it will be able to do so. But maybe there will be issues, but those issues will be related to the local infrastructure rather than the implementation of Navis on a scalable basis, if that makes sense.
Right. Will you be available on smart watches?
So that's definitely what we're planning to do for the second half of next year. First, we're focusing on the app, but smartwatches makes a lot of sense for us. So that's in the plan for the second half of 2025. Yes.
When will it be available in Spanish?
I thought this question was coming. So this was actually, well, I will explain the plan from the beginning. So the Netherlands is quite a small market for the visually impaired, but it's really great to develop your product. And then our plan is to work on two things in parallel. So the Spanish version and the English version, because in Spain you have a really good market for the visually impaired and ONCE. So there's a lot of possibilities for us there. And then in the UK, it's also a big market and it's quite close to the Netherlands. And then the plan is to move to the United States because the United States, I think, has the most Spanish-speaking people outside of Spain, probably, I think, 50 million or something. So then we would have already got Navis very good at both Spanish and English. And of course, Spanish and English are very big languages globally. So basically the first version of Navis will have Dutch, English, and Spanish.
All right. Well, how are you thinking this business model is gonna go? How are you gonna make money out of this?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest challenge we have.
Right.
Because often the time is that people with a visual impairment, they're not working or they're on, especially in the Netherlands, government benefits. So it's the biggest challenge that we face. And our initial idea was to make a hardware where you can control the app via a hardware piece. And then you can get the insurance providers to subsidize it. But that's a bit of a longer term vision. But for now, we're offering a monthly subscription starting at €5 per month. At least in the Netherlands. Of course, it will differ per location, but starting in the Netherlands, we offer a €5 a month, and this is really the basic version of Navis. And then at 15 to 17 euros per month, you get the full personality, the full package, the step-by-step directions, the visual positioning system, and that's the entire inclusive package. So the basic is really at €5, and then 15 to 17 euros is the full version of the app. And then we offer a hyper premium version for €75 per month, and this offers also live customer support. So this would mean that whenever you open the app and you travel, there will be a human that you can immediately contact in case you need assistance. But this is really the premium product. So we're starting with the basic at €5. The full product at €17, and then the hyper premium at 75 as a basis to start.
Now, if I could ask you, Liam, what's the biggest dream you have with this application that you say, okay, I did it, I can rest now because I got what I wanted from this to help the blind and visually impaired people worldwide. There is a big goal in mind that you say in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time, I want to get to this point?
I mean, I think when you get to the end of the journey, you kind of reflect on the beginning, right? And for us, the beginning of the journey was a problem. and was we just talked to people, fellow human beings just like ourselves, who for some reason or not, God or whatever happened in their life, that they lost their sight, and the world as it was created, especially now and digitally minded as well, makes it difficult for people to live independently. And that was the problem that we came across in the beginning. So the vision for the end is that really, however large or small, we will reduce that pain on a daily basis for as many people around the world as we can. And the end vision would be, okay, I go have a conversation with these people again and I ask, how is your life today? Is Navis making a difference? Is Navis improving your life? Does it enable you to go to work more often, or to see friends more often, or simply just to have more energy at the end of the day because you didn't struggle to get from A to B? So if I was to have a conversation like that, I think maybe then I would feel, a little bit successful.
Liam, is very interesting. For our listeners, on the show notes, we'll have the link to your website, and if there is some possibility, how can people sign up for the beta version whenever it comes out? All of that would be wonderful. I truly applaud what you're doing. It's very exciting, the time we are living in terms of technology, for sure. And I do believe, and that's just my my belief, my opinion, my thoughts, that we are 2 years or so away from incredible things for blind and visually impaired people worldwide. Whether you need a bus on the street and you don't know how to get to the bus station, whether you go into the subway, you need the train number, whether you need to take a cab and find it, whether you go to the supermarket and need to buy groceries on your own, whatever you're going to do, wherever you're going to go, you are not going to be feeling so isolated. And that's the word I like to use. Because when we don't see and we don't know what is around us, there is a sense of isolation. And I was reading this precisely today on Facebook from someone in the US saying, I feel isolated. I hope technology is going to help me out. And definitely so. And I believe technology like yours, smart glasses, and hopefully not so pricey, but hopefully about less than $1,000, hopefully, with a very good processor, as you say, that allows on-device technology that will maybe not even use too much internet connection in a few years. Very good sound quality, and be aware of your surroundings at the same time. All of that, and great battery life, that is super important, is going to help us live such a powerful life. So, Liam, thank you so much, and please tell us, how can people reach out to you?
So we would love if everyone can, all the listeners hearing today, you can access us at touchpulse.nl/Navis, or if you just type in TouchPulse in Google, it will probably be the first one that comes up. There's a form on the Navis page, and there you can sign up to be a beta tester. And what is really valuable for us is getting your input, because we are really building this right now. I mean, I have a team in the office coding away, and we're building features, we're building the solution, and we need as much feedback as we can, and we just love people to get involved. And so far, this has sort of been a co-created project, and we've created with the community that we have here in the Netherlands. But it's going to be a global solution, and this is going to go worldwide. So if you're in Australia, if you're in America, if you're in South America, send us a message, and I'll get back to you. And you can also sign up for our newsletter. We keep you updated. And we're coming to the end of 2024. I mean, that was quite fast. I don't know how it happened so quickly, but 2025 is coming, and I think it's going to be a really, really exciting year, because we are kicking off really in January and February, and bring this solution to market, and going to bring some impact with us as well. So I'm looking forward to it, and thanks for also inviting me on this podcast. It's been great.
It's my pleasure, Liam. And for our listeners, remember to smile, be happy, And walk, take transportation, live life to the fullest. My name is Alvaro from All Abilities Network podcast saying good night.